No one is born a legend. Legends are forged in battle. Every scar carries a price. And only the strongest are remembered. The sun falls upon the Serengeti like molten bronze poured across the plains. Not a breath of wind stirs the grass. Not a single cloud offers mercy from above. There is only the heat shimmering above the earth, invisible waves, and then a roar that tears the silence wide open. That roar carries nearly 5 miles across the savanna, echoing off distant acacia groves that tremble on the horizon. The resident male, his mane a dark, dense crown, the unmistakable hallmark of surging testosterone and countless battles survived, has held this pride for more than 2 years. But the average reign of a male lion lasts only 2 to 3 years. His challenger, a coalition of nomadic males, younger, hungrier, far more desperate. Each weighing over 400 pounds, muscles coiled beneath tawny hides, darkened by years in the sun. They close the distance under the searing midday heat, each step slow and deliberate, as though counting down to the inevitable. On the Serengeti, power is seized by brute force, by fang, by claw, by blood. In the distance, beneath a thicket of dense acacias, a shape glides through the tall grass without a sound. This is the leopard, the loneliest hunter on the Serengeti. Its coat, dappled with rosettes, dissolves perfectly into the patchwork of sunlight and shadow that filters through the canopy above. The leopard launches, accelerating to 36 miles per hour in a blinding sprint. Jaws lock around the prey's throat with a bite force of roughly 300 psi less than a lion's, but precise enough to end everything in an instant. Yet on the Serengeti, making the kill is only half the battle. The scent of fresh blood travels fast across open grassland, and lions are never far away. A male lion materializes from behind a thicket, advancing with heavy, ominous steps. The leopard does not fight. It knows it weighs barely half what its rival does. Instead, it does something extraordinary. It clamps its jaws around a carcass nearly twice its own body weight and hauls it skyward, up into the tree. The lion stands below, gazing upward, but it cannot follow. This is the leopard's strategy. When you cannot win by force, you win by cunning and agility. But there is another player on the Serengeti, not as powerful as the lion, not as swift as the leopard, but more intelligent than either. The spotted hyena, Africa's most misunderstood carnivore, most people assume they are mere scavengers, feeding on the kills of others. The truth is far more remarkable. Hyenas are extraordinarily efficient hunters, and they possess the most complex social structure of any land-dwelling mammal. Their jaws generate a bite force of 1100 psi, the most powerful of any terrestrial carnivore, enough to splinter the thigh bone of a Cape buffalo. But the hyena's most formidable weapon is not its jaw, it is its brain. Hyenas live in what scientists call fission-fusion societies, groups that constantly split apart and reassemble depending on circumstance. Before every confrontation, they do something astonishing. They count the enemy. If they are outnumbered, they withdraw. Not from fear, but from calculation, from an understanding of probability. And when patrolling the borders of their territory, they organize a chorus, dozens of whooping calls rising in unison, a collective vote to decide whether to advance or retreat. A single hyena clan can number up to 80 individuals, and every one of them knows precisely where it stands in the hierarchy. It is this collective intelligence that forces the leopard to drag its kill into the trees, because hyenas always travel in numbers, and a solitary leopard cannot stand against an entire clan. But before we leave the Serengeti, there is one more resident that deserves our attention, a bird that most visitors overlook entirely. The southern ground hornbill, Africa's largest ground-dwelling bird, with a wingspan of nearly 6 feet. Each dawn, their deep, booming calls roll across the plains like drumbeats, heralding another day on the savanna. They walk the earth with slow, deliberate strides, heads lowered, hunting snakes and scorpions with a patience that borders on the meditative. The southern ground hornbill reproduces more slowly than any bird on Earth on average. Only one chick survives every 9 years. They can live 50 to 70 years, yet the IUCN lists them as vulnerable, with only around 1,500 breeding pairs remaining across southern Africa. The southern ground hornbill is the last sentinel of the Serengeti dawn, and perhaps a voice that is slowly falling silent. The drumbeat of the ground hornbill dissolves into the rising heat, and the savanna sinks once more into stillness. The stillness of the exposed, of the wide open, where everything is laid bare. "7,500 miles away, there exists an entirely different kind of stillness, the stillness of everything in hiding. Where the most powerful creature is the one you never see until it is far too late. The Amazon rainforest. The Amazon stretches across 9 nations, with Brazil claiming roughly 60% of its total area. This is the largest tropical rainforest on Earth, where 390 billion trees, belonging to some 16,000 species, stand shoulder to shoulder beneath a canopy rising 100 to 165 feet above the forest floor. Millions of years ago, the uplift of the Andes drove the great rivers eastward, carving out the hydrological system that sustains this colossal living cathedral. This forest stores between 90 and 140 billion tons of carbon, and throughout its history, it has absorbed roughly 2 billion tons of CO2 each year, though that figure is declining as deforestation accelerates. If the Serengeti is an open stage where everything unfolds in plain sight, then the Amazon is a sealed labyrinth where sunlight itself must fight to reach the ground. And at the heart of that labyrinth, amidst shafts of light that pierce the canopy like pillars of gold, streaming through an ancient cathedral, a shape moves. A pair of amber eyes flares briefly in the understory, then vanishes behind the buttressed trunk of a titan tree. This is the jaguar, the apex predator that sits unchallenged at the very top of the Amazon's food chain. Across the centuries, numerous indigenous civilizations of the Americas revered the jaguar as a sacred symbol of power and the spirit world. That magnificent tawny orange coat is adorned with black rosettes, each individual bearing a pattern as unique as a fingerprint, no two alike, as though the ancient forest itself inscribed an identity upon every cat. The Tupi-Guarani people named it jaguar, meaning the one who kills with a single leap. And the name does not exaggerate. A jaguar measures roughly 6 feet in length and weighs anywhere from 155 to over 265 pounds, smaller than a lion, yet possessing the most powerful bite of any big cat on Earth. Approximately 1,500 psi, enough to puncture a turtle's shell and crush the skull of a caiman. Where a lion clamps down on the throat to suffocate, the jaguar bites directly through the skull or the cervical vertebrae, a single, devastating strike, precise and final, requiring no prolonged struggle. But what makes the jaguar the Amazon's true sovereign is not merely its bite force, it is the animal's ability to move through every layer of its world. It dives into rivers, pursuing caiman in their own domain. It even hunts turtles, piercing their armored shells with its canines. No other predator in the Amazon, or indeed anywhere on Earth, operates so seamlessly across so many ecological strata. A single jaguar's territory spans from roughly 10 to nearly 40 square miles, and it patrols every inch of it alone. No pride, no allies, no warning roar. Only silence and a pair of amber eyes, glimpsed for a heartbeat between the leaves, then gone. The Amazon River, the single greatest flow of fresh water on the planet, discharging more water into the sea than the next 7 largest rivers combined. White water, milky with sediment washed down from the Andes. Black water, stained dark as brewed tea by the decaying leaves of flooded forests. 2 currents flowing side by side, creating one of the most extraordinary spectacles in all of nature. Where these 2 rivers meet, they do not blend immediately. Instead, they run in parallel for miles, a sharp, vivid boundary between white and black, as though 2 worlds refuse to become one. More than 2,200 species of fish inhabit these waters, accounting for roughly 15% of all freshwater fish on the entire planet. A density of biodiversity that no other river system on Earth can match. The anhinga, the snakebird, is the most peculiar hunter beneath the water, and its common name is no accident. When it dives, its plumage does not repel water, unlike virtually every other aquatic bird, causing its entire body to sink beneath the surface, leaving only that long, sinuous neck protruding above the waterline, looking for all the world like a serpent gliding through the current. That is precisely why it earned the name snakebird, a title that describes its appearance with uncanny accuracy. But those waterlogged feathers are not a flaw. They reduce buoyancy, allowing the anhinga to dive deeper and maneuver underwater with greater agility than any other bird. When it spots its prey, it does not give chase. Instead, it drives that dagger-like bill straight through the body of a fish, spearing it clean, then surfaces to toss the impaled fish skyward and swallow it whole. After each hunt, the anhinga must perch on a riverside branch and spread its wings wide to dry in the sun, an iconic silhouette that anyone who has ever visited the Amazon recognizes at once. Deeper still, the piranha, the fish with the most fearsome reputation in all the Amazon patrols in shoals of 20 to 30, their teeth, less than a quarter of an inch long, are as sharp as surgical scalpels, interlocking like the teeth of a saw with a bite force reaching up to 30 times their own body weight. A shoal of piranha can strip a large carcass clean in mere minutes, not because any single fish is especially powerful, but because they coordinate their attacks with a precision that is genuinely terrifying. But the truth is far removed from the legend. When food is plentiful, piranha feed primarily on plant matter and carrion. They turn to live prey only when genuinely desperate. Piranha are not the frenzied killers that cinema has conjured. They are the river's sanitation crew, keeping the ecosystem clean. But above all those underwater hunters, there are two creatures that even the jaguar regards with caution. The black caiman, descendant of a lineage stretching back 85 million years to the Cretaceous period, when dinosaurs still ruled the Earth. Reaching 13 to 16 feet in length and weighing over 660 pounds, the black caiman is the consummate ambush predator and the largest crocodilian in all the Americas. It lies motionless for hours at the water's surface, exposing only its eyes and nostrils, resembling nothing more than a rotting log, drifting lazily with the current. Prey approaches the water's edge to drink, suspecting nothing because that log was there long before they arrived. And then a single, explosive lunge. Jaws clamp shut with pulverizing force. In a heartbeat, the prey vanishes beneath the black water. The black caiman does not need speed, it needs patience. And 85 million years of evolution have honed that patience to absolute perfection. But the black caiman is not the sole ruler of the water kingdom. The giant anaconda, stretching 16 to 20 feet, weighing over 220 pounds, does not bite to kill. It constricts. Coil after coil of enormous muscle wraps around its victim, tightening fractionally with every exhalation until the heart simply stops. The anaconda is in no hurry. It can hold its prey in that suffocating embrace for tens of minutes, patiently waiting as each final breath grows weaker and weaker until at last silence. Once its prey is dead, the anaconda swallows it whole, unhinging its jaws to an almost inconceivable degree, engulfing victims many times the width of its own head. If the black caiman is a sword, swift, precise, lethal in a single stroke, then the anaconda is a noose, slow, patient, and utterly inescapable. But the Amazon is not only a story of battles beneath the river and along its banks. Look up, and you begin to understand the world that created those rulers. The Amazon canopy spreads at heights of 100 to 165 feet, a green city suspended in midair, where sunlight is fought over, leaf by leaf. Tens of thousands of plant species take root across the layered tiers of the forest, creating a labyrinth so dense that 75% of the mammals here spend their entire lives in the canopy and never once touch the ground. Beneath the soil, a mycorrhizal fungal network connects millions of trees, transmitting nutrients, chemical warning signals, and even sugars from one root system to another. Scientists call it the underground neural network of the forest, a biological internet that has existed for hundreds of millions of years before humanity ever conceived of fiber optic. The sloth, the slowest mammal on Earth, moves at roughly 1/10 of a mile per hour. "90% of its life is spent hanging upside down, motionless on a branch, blending into the canopy as though it were simply another part of the tree." Its digestive system takes up to 30 days to process a single meal, so slow that the entire body essentially operates in a permanent state of energy conservation. Each day, a sloth consumes only 160 to 230 kilocalories. Less than a bowl of rice. But that extraordinary slowness is not a weakness. It is the most perfect survival strategy the Amazon has ever produced. The sloth's fur is an ecosystem in miniature home to green algae, moths, and fungi, all living in symbiosis. The algae transforms the sloth into a living clump of moss, rendering it virtually invisible among the thousands of leaves surrounding it. The harpy waits to strike. Sloth waits to disappear. Two opposing strategies of patience, coexisting on the very same tree. But the sloth is not the only resident of the upper canopy, and the Amazon has never lacked for voices. The howler monkey, the primate that produces the loudest call on Earth, sends its voice nearly 3 miles through the forest canopy. The secret lies in a massively enlarged hyoid bone in its throat, a natural resonance chamber that amplifies its call into a deep, thunderous sound that no other primate can rival. It is the morning bulletin of the rainforest, warning competitors, marking territory, broadcasting presence across an enormous swath of jungle. When the howlers begin their dawn chorus, the entire canopy listens, from spider monkeys to toucans. Every creature adjusts its behavior according to that broadcast. The spider monkey swings through the treetops using a prehensile tail, a genuine fifth limb strong enough to support its entire body weight, by the tail alone. They move through the canopy at remarkable speed, long arms reaching forward in sweeping arcs, launching their bodies across the gaps between branches, a technique known as brachiating, which few primates have mastered so completely. But it is precisely this agility and habit of traveling through the very highest tier of the canopy that makes the spider monkey the harpy eagle's preferred target, the ruler of the same realm. Every leap is a gamble between freedom in the heights and the talons waiting silently above. The toucan, with its enormous bill, fully 1/3 the length of its entire body, appears to carry an absurdly oversized weapon. In reality, that bill is astonishingly light. Constructed from keratin with a honeycomb-like internal structure, it is both remarkably strong and far lighter than its appearance would suggest. But the bill's most fascinating function has nothing to do with plucking fruit. It serves as a thermoregulator, adjusting blood flow to dissipate heat or conserve warmth, functioning precisely like a biological radiator. And when the toucan flies from tree to tree, it carries seeds in its gut, depositing them in new locations, quietly planting trees for the very forest it depends upon. Macaws fly in bonded pairs through the canopy, their brilliant plumage, scarlet, cobalt, and gold, painting the most vivid streaks of color in all the Amazon. They mate for life, and in flight, they emit piercing calls that ring through the treetops, serving as an early warning system for every creature within earshot. Wherever they travel, seeds are scattered, making macaws the tireless, unwitting gardeners of the forest, silently regenerating the very ecosystem upon which their survival depends. And smallest of all, the hummingbird, the fastest living creature in the Amazon. Its heart hammers at 1,200 beats per minute during flight, so rapid that the human ear cannot distinguish individual beats, perceiving only a continuous, vibrating hum. The hummingbird is the only bird on Earth capable of flying backward, hovering in place, and even flying upside down its wings, tracing a figure-8 pattern at speeds far beyond what the naked eye can follow. Its nest, woven from spider, silk, and plant fibers, is scarcely half the size of a chicken egg, a miniature architectural masterpiece that resists even strong winds thanks to the extraordinary elasticity of the spider silk. In exchange for that frenetic pace of life, the hummingbird must feed almost constantly, visiting hundreds of blossoms each day, and in the process, pollinating thousands of flowering plant species throughout the canopy. Now, look down. Beneath the canopy, where barely 2% of sunlight filters through, an entirely different war is being waged, not with fangs and claws, but with chemistry. The poison dart frog of the genus Philobates measures less than 2 inches, yet carries enough batrachotoxin on its skin to kill 10 grown adults. That blazing skin, vivid yellow, deep crimson, electric cobalt, is not decoration. It is the clearest warning in all of nature, a phenomenon scientists call aposematism. Every predator learns this lesson quickly. A single touch is all it takes, and they will never repeat that mistake. But here is the strangest part. The frog does not manufacture that poison itself. It comes from its diet. Ants and tiny mites on the forest floor contain chemical precursors, which the frog's body accumulates and converts into a lethal weapon. Raise a poison dart frog in a laboratory. Feed it commercially bred insects and it becomes completely harmless. The Amazon creates the poison, not the frog. A creature small enough to sit on your fingertip, yet the entire forest gives it a wide berth that is the power of chemistry in the wild. A few yards away, another ambush predator waits, but this one needs no chemistry. The Goliath bird-eater Theraphosa blondie, the largest spider on Earth, with a leg span exceeding 10 inches and fangs measuring roughly an inch long. It does not build a web. Instead, it drums its legs against the ground to detect vibrations, pinpointing its prey's location, then lunges with startling speed. Enzymes in its venom liquefy the victim's internal organs from the inside out. The Goliath bird-eater does not chew. It drinks, reducing its prey to liquid and absorbing it. When threatened, it scrapes barbed hairs from its abdomen and fires them at its attacker, microscopic, hooked bristles that cause intense, burning irritation enough to drive any aggressor into retreat. The Amazon forest floor, where the smallest creatures kill the fastest. But beneath the forest floor itself, deep within the earth, there exists an empire. Leaf-cutter ants, the first farmers on Earth, began cultivating crops 50 million years before humans ever planted a single seed. They do not eat the leaves. They cut them into tiny fragments, transport them back to the nest, and use them as a substrate to cultivate fungus. That fungus is their true food, a sophisticated agricultural system complete with sentries guarding the entrances, workers handling transport, and farmers tending the fungal gardens. They even maintain specialized medic ants, whose bodies carry a naturally occurring bacterium that secretes antibiotics to eliminate invasive molds and protect their gardens from disease. A mature leafcutter colony can spread across 100 feet, an entire underground metropolis housing millions of inhabitants, with complex ventilation systems and tunnels stretching tens of yards in every direction. Leaf-cutter ants do not merely feed themselves, they till the soil, recycle organic matter, and help the Amazon regenerate itself from the ground up. The Serengeti stretches beneath an empty sky where everything unfolds in broad daylight, and power is declared by roars that carry across every blade of grass. The Amazon sinks into its own darkness where everything happens in silence, and the most powerful creature is the one that is never seen. The lion steps into the open because its strength lies in its presence. The jaguar dissolves into the night because its strength lies in its absence. One roars, so the world will bow. The other falls silent, so the world cannot turn in time. Each species speaks its own language. Each continent has its own grammar, but every one of them is saying the same thing. Adapt or become a memory. In the Kalahari Basin, water is the supreme force, compelling even its rulers to redefine their very nature. The epicenter of this transformation lies in the Okavango Delta, a phenomenal work of nature. Each year, a great river begins its journey from Angola, but its destination is not the sea. Instead, it ventures into the desert's heart, turning nearly 6,000 square miles of dry sand into a lush wetland before it evaporates. It is a miracle of life, recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. And in the heart of that heritage site, lions have rewritten every rule their kind once followed. The Okavango lions are unlike any other population on the continent. Their bodies have changed. Broader shoulders, deeper chests, and muscles far more developed than their dryland relatives. This was no sudden alteration. It is a legacy etched into their very bloodline over countless generations. Natural selection has forged an extraordinary instinct, a skill for water combat that no lesson could ever teach. They move with a high-stepping gait, lifting each leg vertically from the water before placing it down, minimizing the drag of the current. Their paws are wider than normal, acting like snowshoes on the soft mud, distributing their weight to prevent them from sinking. Derek and Beverly Joubert, filmmakers who have dedicated their lives to chronicling the Okavango, describe it as the most astonishing adaptation they have ever witnessed in lions. But the most profound transformation is not in their anatomy, but in their hunting tactics. While their dry land cousins kill with a suffocating bite to the throat, the Okavango lions drive their targets into channels and drown them. This strategy requires something that mere instinct cannot create: deliberate coordination between individuals and a deep understanding of the watery terrain. And above all, the courage to conquer an element that feline instinct has always sought to avoid. The Baye people, fishermen who live along the Okavango's channels, call the lion Tau. In their language, Tau is not just a name, it is a symbol of sacred power, a clan totem. In this inundated world, the lion's greatest adversary is none other than the African buffalo. An Okavango buffalo herd can number up to 2,000, a moving fortress that even the largest pride must hesitate to attack. On the head of each adult bull, two horns fuse into a solid shield of bone called a boss, fully formed when the animal reaches 8 to 9 years of age. That shield can withstand the direct charge of a male lion. It is the product of millions of years of natural selection in a world full of enemies. Yet the buffalo's most formidable weapon is not its physical strength, but its collective intelligence. Ecologist Herbert Prinz discovered that when a herd needs to decide on a direction, the adult females stand and look towards where they wish to go. The will of the majority decides, a form of primitive democracy operating in the heart of the wild. Buffalo traverse the swamps on wide, splayed hooves like combat boots, pushing through mud without slowing. They bathe in mud daily. The dried layer forms a natural armor that both regulates their temperature and deters parasites. And as the buffalo move, they mow down the tall, tough grasses, untouched by other grazers, clearing paths for impala, zebra, and dozens of other species to feed behind them. But buffalo are not the only force shaping the wetlands. There is another ecological engineer, heavier, more dangerous, and far more ancient, the hippopotamus. £6,600 of muscle, skin nearly 2 inches thick, and jaws that can open to 150 degrees. This is the hippopotamus, an animal many researchers consider to be Africa's most dangerous. Their body design is a masterpiece of aquatic engineering. Eyes, ears, and nostrils are aligned on the top of their head, like the periscope of a submarine, allowing them to see while almost fully submerged. Their skin secretes a red fluid called hipposudoric acid, not blood, but a natural sunscreen that blocks ultraviolet rays and kills bacteria. Research by Saikawa and colleagues, published in the journal Nature in 2004, confirmed this is a unique biological defense system in the mammalian world. But the hippo's greatest contribution to the Okavango is not its fighting prowess. Each night, the herds come ashore to graze, returning to the water before dawn. Their repeated journeys forge deep channels through the dense vegetation. These channels become the arteries of the delta, carrying water to drier lands, expanding the swamp's borders, and creating habitats for fish, birds, and hundreds of other species. Hippos don't build dams like beavers. They are simply too big, too heavy, and travel too often, unintentionally creating a natural irrigation network that is irreplaceable. The channels created by hippos are also the highways that lions use to move between hunting grounds. Without hippos, lions would have to swim through dense marsh, a slower, more dangerous, and far more exhausting journey. The lower canines of an adult bull can reach 20 inches in length. Its bite force is estimated at 1,800 pounds. A force strong enough to splinter a wooden boat, and certainly enough to cost any intruder, even a lion, its life. When two bulls fight for territory, they gape to their widest extent, displaying their enormous teeth in a lethal warning. The battles can last for hours, often ending only when one of the combatants falls. But the Okavango also hides a threat that not even a hippo can withstand: anthrax. The bacterium, Bacillus anthracis, periodically erupts in the delta, and hippos are among the first victims. When a hippo dies from anthrax, its carcass becomes a biological bomb, releasing spores into the water, soil, and air, threatening the entire surrounding ecosystem. But even the Lord of the Water has an enemy more ancient than any mammal. And that enemy has been waiting for millions of years, still, silent, perfect. The Nile crocodile. Along the crocodile's lower jaw, hundreds of integrated sensory organs, called ISOs, are densely packed like a biological radar network. Research by Leach and Catania, published in the Journal of Experimental Biology in 2012, proved these sensors are more sensitive than a human fingertip. They can detect the faintest ripple from an animal stepping into the water dozens of yards away. The crocodile's back is armored with osteoderms, bony plates embedded just beneath the skin, forming a natural shield that a lion's teeth cannot pierce. But the osteoderms are not just armor. Beneath each plate lies a dense network of blood vessels, acting as a biological heating system, absorbing the sun's warmth as the crocodile basks, then distributing it throughout its body. In their stomachs, dozens of small stones called gastroliths are deliberately swallowed. Not for digestion, but for ballast, just as a submarine adjusts its depth with water. A crocodile's attack is not a test of endurance. It is an explosion of power, executed in a single second. A strike from below, so fast the human eye can barely register it. The prey is dragged under, spun in a maneuver known as the death roll, a technique for tearing flesh without chewing. The bite of a Nile crocodile is among the most powerful in the animal kingdom. And here, we discover an astonishing aspect, one that seems to contradict the very nature of a crocodile. They also eat fruit. A study by Platt and colleagues in 2013 in the Journal of Zoology found that crocodiles deliberately swallow waterberries and the fruit of the sausage tree. The seeds pass through their digestive system and are deposited along the riverbanks, a form of seed dispersal known as saurochory. The apex predator, it turns out, is also a silent gardener. A Nile crocodile can survive for 1 to 2 years after a large meal, an efficiency of metabolism unmatched by any mammal. The relationship between crocodile and hippo in the Okavango is a tense equilibrium. They share the same water, the same basking spots, yet an adult hippo can snap a 10-foot crocodile in half with a single bite. And when lions enter the water, they step into a realm the crocodile has ruled for 100 million years. Here, the terrestrial hunter becomes potential prey. This is the paradox of the Okavango. Water brings life, but it also turns every footstep into a gamble, a truth understood to the bone by predator, crocodile, and especially the prey. For the race is not only between those at the top of the food chain. Below them, the prey are also evolving sophisticated, swift, and no less spectacular. The red lechwe is living proof of the biological arms race between hunter and hunted. Its body is tilted forward, with hind legs longer than its front, a design that looks awkward on land, but is perfect in water. The lechwe's hooves are wide and splay upon contact, like miniature flippers, giving it purchase on the soft mud without sinking. When pursued, the red lechwe does not run. It leaps, bounding across the water's surface like a dolphin, a technique called porpoising. Water has 800 times the resistance of air. Every leap out of the water means an 800-fold reduction in drag during the airborne phase. This is not wild instinct, it is physics, honed by nature. Between 60,000 and 75,000 red lechwe live in the Okavango, one of the largest populations on the globe. Their mating system is also bound to the water. Males establish small territories called leks, display arenas where they show off their strength. Females observe and almost always choose the male in the central position. The red lechwe's life revolves around water from the moment of birth. Lionesses give birth on dry land, but a lechwe mother delivers her calf at the very edge of the swamp water, shallow enough for the newborn to stand, but deep enough to deter any predator that cannot swim. But there is a place in the Okavango where all these adaptations are pushed to their limit, where lion and buffalo meet head-on, day after day, in a battle that neither side is willing to lose. Duba Plains. The lions of Duba Plains are specialists in hunting buffalo not by choice, but by tradition. One generation teaches the next the skills to confront prey weighing nearly 2,000 pounds, a form of what scientists call cultural food specialization. No other lion pride in the world so regularly attacks prey 4 times its own body weight, except for the Duba pride. "10 to 20 lions coordinate their attacks in broad daylight, something exceedingly rare for any other lion population in the world. They do not chase in the traditional sense. Instead, they slowly close in. Cornered, the buffalo are forced back into water channels where the soft mud instantly traps their legs, turning their immense strength into a deadly liability. And finally, the largest individual will climb onto the buffalo's back and push it under. This is not instinct. This is strategy taught, learned, passed down from mother to daughter over generations. But the lion's ingenuity does not stop with hunting buffalo. Each pride in the Okavango develops its own hunting culture, a tactical legacy passed from one generation to the next. When an experienced elder dies, she takes with her a library of knowledge the pride may never relearn. This same adaptability has led to deadly conflict with people, especially when prides learn to raid livestock farms. Consequently, relentless retaliations have cost more than 20 lions their lives each year, pushing the local population to the brink of collapse. To break this cycle, the organization Claws was born. They implement simple yet effective solutions, GPS collars that send automatic alerts to farmers, and canvas kraals to block the lion's predatory instincts. As a result, the number of lions killed has dropped significantly, proving that conservation is not about separation, but about finding ways for humans and wildlife to coexist. In the Okavango, where water writes the laws, humans too are learning to adapt and to listen. But the abundance brought by this water is not eternal. About 125 miles east of the Okavango in Chobe National Park, there is a channel that defies understanding. The Savuti Channel, the Ghost River, flows and dries on a cycle that lasts for decades, driven not by rain or drought, but by tectonic shifts deep within the Kalahari Rift system. The last time the Savuti flowed was in 2008, after 26 years of being completely dry since 1982. When the water recedes, everything changes. The grass turns yellow. Red dust settles on every surface. The paths, once carved by hippos, become cracked fissures of dry earth. The marsh shrinks to a few scattered waterholes in a scorched plain. And thousands of exhausted elephants converge on the last remaining mud pools, digging wells with their trunks, searching for water beneath the cracked ground. Elephants are the only ones who can find water when no one else can. Their trunks dig feet deep into the dry riverbed, creating wells upon which dozens of other species, zebra, antelope, even lions, depend. But in Savut, the elephant's unintentional kindness is also a trap. As the herds crowd around the last mudhole, they become their most vulnerable. And there, amidst the desperation of the elephants, the lions have been patiently waiting. The lions of Savute are not like the lions of the Okavango. If the Okavango lions adapted to water, the Savute lions adapted to its absence and to its consequences. They are larger. Females can reach 350 pounds, the males 550. These immense bodies have been forged by an unthinkable prey, the elephant. Not a fully grown bull, 13 feet tall and 15,000 pounds, with the power to overturn a truck. But calves and subadults, from 4 to 11 years old, still large enough to kill any single predator. This is not an act of desperation. It is a skill passed from one generation to the next, exactly as the Duba lions pass on the art of hunting buffalo. When a pride loses its oldest females, the teachers, who know how to bring down an elephant, that skill can be lost forever. To take down an elephant, the Savute lions form a super pride, up to 30 strong, 3 times the size of a normal pride. They hunt only at night. Elephants have poor night vision, and in the darkness, their great size becomes a liability rather than an advantage. The hunt begins not with speed, but with infinite patience, as the pride stalks for hours to isolate a young elephant from the protection of its herd. The calf's screams can summon a formidable defense, a phalanx of tusk and muscle that forces the lions to retreat. But if that wall forms too late, the hunt ends in absolute silence. The reward for such a high-stakes gamble is immense, nearly 9,000 pounds of meat, enough to sustain the entire super pride for days. But the cost is not small. Most adult Savute lions bear long scars, the marks of tusks, of a crushing stomp. Every scar is a story of nights when the line between success and failure was measured in seconds, of near-death encounters survived. But lions are not the only threat the Savute night conceals. As the elephant's cries fade into silence, another sound rises, the chilling, whooping calls that tear through the darkness, the voice of an ancient enemy. The spotted hyena. They are not the scavengers of popular myth. "80% of a spotted hyena's food comes from active hunting, a figure confirmed by researcher Kay Holcamp over decades of fieldwork. Their bite force, around 1100 psi, is the strongest of any African carnivore, powerful enough to crush the femur of a buffalo. Their jaws do not just bite, they grind, turning bone to powder, extracting calcium and fat that no other predator can reach. In terms of speed, a spotted hyena can reach 37 miles per hour. They can maintain a chase for up to 3 miles, 10 times farther than a lion. If the lion is an ambusher, the hyena is the savanna's most persistent pursuer. The great hyena clans of Savute can number up to 80 individuals, all dominated by females. But in Savute, the greatest threat to the lions comes not from elephants or hyenas. It comes from man. In 2019, Botswana lifted a hunting ban that had been in place since 2014. Lions, especially males with black manes, a symbol of superior genetic fitness, became targets for trophy hunters. The price for a license, $50,000 US. The issue is not just one of numbers. When the strongest male is shot, the pride loses its best genes, the genes that have passed down the skills to hunt elephants, to survive the dry season, to fight hyenas. A single bullet does not just end one lion's life. It erases an evolutionary legacy honed over thousands of generations. The debate over conservation hunting continues today. with no easy answers and no side entirely in the right. But there is one question all sides agree must be answered. If the Savute lions disappear, who will control the elephant herds? Who will maintain the balance that millions of years of evolution have created? If dwindling water forced lions to change to become bigger, stronger, more audacious, what happens when water never existed at all? The answer lies on the continent's western edge, where the Namib Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean. The Namib, 55 million years old, is one of the most ancient landscapes on the planet. Here, rain is virtually non-existent. There are no rivers, no lakes, no swamps, only sand, rock, and fog. The Benguela fog. The Benguela Current, a cold stream of Antarctic water flowing along the Namibian coast, generates a dense fog on about 180 days a year along the Skeleton Coast. That fog is the only source of water for this desert ecosystem, from the Namib beetle that tilts its body to catch the droplets to the lions that lick moisture from rocks at dawn. And here, between the sand and the fog, live approximately 60 adult lions, according to the first systematic survey by Conservation Namibia in 2023. The entire population. Fewer than the students in a single classroom. Researcher Philip Stander has spent over 2 decades tracking them. He calls them the vanishing kings. The death of a single desert lion is an irreplaceable loss, for the population is too small to recover quickly. Each pride's territory stretches for nearly 8,000 square miles, a vast area, for prey is so scarce that the lions must travel 30 to 45 miles a night just to find their next meal. They can go for weeks, even months, without drinking, deriving moisture from the blood and tissue of their prey, supplemented by the benguela fog that clings to the rocks. And their prey, this is what stunned the scientific world. The desert lions of the Namib hunt seals. Cape fur seals, a species of eared seal, gather in colonies thousands strong along the Namibian coast, where the Benguela current brings a rich supply of fish. An adult bull can weigh up to 660 pounds. Their fur is dense, with nearly 300,000 hairs per square inch of skin, a perfect insulation in the cold water. On land, the Cape fur seal is not slow. Unlike true seals, they can rotate their hind flippers forward, moving on all four limbs at speeds of up to 12 miles per hour. But the lions are still faster, and on the sand, the advantage belongs to the one born of the land. Standard's 2019 study, published in the Namibian Journal of Environment, showed that marine life made up 79% of the Hoanib pride's diet over an 18-month period. But the lions are not the only carnivores on the Namibian coast. There is another phantom, quieter, more solitary, and much rarer. The brown hyena. The rarest hyena in the world, with a total global population estimated at just 5,000 to 8,000 individuals, listed as near threatened by the IUCN. The coastal people of Namibia call them strand wolf or beach wolf, for they wander the sands like solitary ghosts, their dark brown fur up to a foot long, blowing in the sea wind. Unlike spotted hyenas, which live in large clans, brown hyenas hunt alone. They scavenge on seal carcasses that wash ashore, seabird eggs, and occasionally the remains of beached whales. Their jaws are strong enough to crush dry bone, extracting nutrients from what all others have left behind. Their sense of smell can detect a carcass from miles away. The desert lions and brown hyenas share the same coast, but rarely confront one another. Both are too few, too precious, and too preoccupied to waste energy on conflict. If the Okavango is where life explodes from an abundance of water, and Savut is where the battle for survival is defined by its scarcity, then the Namib is where all creatures must learn to exist with its absolute absence. Here, at the continent's final edge, life is not a battle. It is an art of conservation. Every calorie calculated, every footstep considered, every drop of dew treasured. Three kingdoms, three different answers to the same question: how to survive. In the Okavango, water is abundant, and the lions learn to swim, to drown, to make the aquatic world their arena. In Savut, the water vanishes, and the lions grew larger, bolder, willing to confront the largest creature on land. In the Namib, water never existed, and the lions became wanderers, eating seals, drinking fog, and slowly vanishing in the silence. Lions do not rule through sheer force alone. They rule through their ability to change how they hunt, how they eat, how they move, how they exist. That is the lesson the Kalahari has written in sand, in water, in the bones of millions of creatures over millions of years. Since the dawn of time itself, long before humans learned to paint on cave walls, long before the first language was ever spoken aloud, this ancient cycle has been turning. And it will keep turning through every battle, every hunt, every roar, and every cry fading into the night. But the cycle needs its guardians. Lions are declining. Kordofan giraffes stand on the edge of extinction. White-backed vultures, the keepers who prevent the savanna from rotting, are vanishing faster than any other species on the continent. Zakuma, a small fortress in Chad, has proven that humans can stand guard over the cycle. Africa, where nothing truly ends, where everything transforms, where death is not the final word but merely a prelude to the next beginning. Where the true king wears no crown, does not roar, does not spread fear. The true king is the cycle that never dies. Thank you for joining Nature's Moments. The natural world still holds countless stories waiting to be told. If you have not yet subscribed, now is the perfect time. We will see you on the next expedition. The Great Migration. An immense assembly of over 1 million blue wildebeest, some 300,000 zebra, and 400,000 gazelle. The zebra and the wildebeest are not kin, but they share a sacred commitment to existence, to see the sun for one more day. The wildebeest possesses exceptionally keen senses of hearing and smell. In particular, it can perceive ground vibrations from distant water sources or from the footfalls of other creatures. However, its short, sturdy neck limits its field of vision. This is where the zebra fulfills its purpose. Weighing up to 850 pounds and with a visual range of nearly 360 degrees, zebras are the great guardians of this journey. This union creates a remarkable network of defense. Yet, That does not imply a life of peaceful coexistence. It is merely part of a harsh cycle of self-preservation within a larger collective. Under the pressures of the migration, the weak or the very young are easily left behind, becoming targets for predators. But the migration faces more than just terrestrial trials. Their journey must intersect with an ancient force, where the line between life and death is as fragile as the water's surface. When the boundary between land and river dissolves, all displays of power lose their meaning. There, by the seemingly tranquil riverbanks, a master of patience awaits. For 200 million years, it has lurked beneath the muddy waters of the Mara River. This is the Nile crocodile, the most formidable, defiant, and perfect reptile that creation has ever conceived. A sheltered hunting machine weighing up to 2,200 pounds and measuring up to 20 feet in length. The secret to its hunting success lies in its subtlety. With skin that blends perfectly into the riverbed, the Nile crocodile resembles an ancient, gently floating log. Leaving the deadly river behind, the savanna greets the survivors with yet another challenge. On this land, there are creatures whose power comes not from concealment, but from an unstoppable collective force. The African buffalo. Weighing up to 2,000 pounds, they are living tanks, protected by thick hide and a solid shield of bone upon their brows. Within Africa's legendary Big Five, the buffalo can sometimes command more reverence than the lion. Confrontations between two adult bulls are a ritual of physical prowess, a dance of primal violence. With speeds reaching 30 miles per hour, the force of impact is immense. Nearly a ton of solid muscle is concentrated at the point of collision, right between the eyes. There, the bases of the two horns fuse into a dense, bony shield, forming a natural coat of armor. This structure is hard enough to absorb and disperse tremendous impacts, and it only fully matures when a bull reaches about 8 or 9 years of age. In Zulu culture, the buffalo is a symbol of indomitable will. Its nature of facing danger without retreat inspired the military tactics of King Shaka Zulu. Elite units were likened to the unstoppable force of this animal. That warrior spirit is also embodied in the powerful Indlamu war dance. The Zulu also crafted buffalo horns into ornaments and weapons, believing the animal's strength would be transferred to the bearer. When gathered in large herds, African buffalo become a mobile fortress, an almost perfect defense. Few predators on the savanna, not even lions, are willing to challenge a full herd of adult buffalo. The majesty of this black giant is often accompanied by an explosive energy waiting to be unleashed. With just a subtle signal that composure can transform into a destructive offensive force. However, everything changes when an individual is separated from the protection of the herd. An adult buffalo can weigh about 5 times as much as a lioness, and in theory, a single head-on charge would be enough to end the confrontation. But the lion pride knows this, so they rely on tactics instead of brute force. The lion is a rare social predator among felines, and most hunts are coordinated by the females of the pride. The pride silently surrounds its quarry, isolating the buffalo from its herd and latching onto its thick hide, turning the hunt into a battle of endurance. With powerful jaws and curved claws, they attempt to restrain the struggling giant. But African buffalo are renowned for their solidarity. When one individual is in danger, the entire herd may turn back to mount a rescue. Faced with the pressure of converging masses of black muscle, the queens of the hunt are forced to retreat. But there is still one young male lion who has not given up. To become a king of the plains, a male lion must prove his strength and his courage. These encounters with Cape buffalo are the most grueling of tests. It is these perilous battles that will forge the future rulers of the savanna. Even when the buffalo herds have defeated their challengers, the savanna holds a greater power still. A creature that reigns almost absolutely at the apex of the hierarchy of strength. It needs no support from a herd to assert its status. Its presence alone is enough to make the ground tremble. The African elephant. The African elephant is a masterpiece of biology, weighing up to 13,200 pounds and standing nearly 13 feet tall as an adult. Once fully grown, they have almost no natural enemies. Before such a giant, even the lion, the savanna's most feared predator, must keep its distance. The elephant's security comes not from speed or aggression, but from its immense size and overwhelming power. A single footstep can exert a pressure equivalent to a heavy armored vehicle rolling across the earth. But the elephant's strength is not just in its size. Its trunk is one of the most complex biological tools in the animal world. With over 40,000 individual muscle bundles, the trunk can uproot trees, lift heavy objects, or become a formidable weapon when necessary. The authority of the African elephant stems from tons of power combined with an intelligence rarely seen in the natural world. For many years, it was told that African elephants could become intoxicated from eating fermented marula fruit. However, studies have shown this is almost impossible in the wild. For an elephant to reach a state of inebriation, it would have to consume an enormous quantity of fermented fruit, and its digestive system processes food very quickly. Thus, the story of the drunken Marula elephant is now considered more of a popular anecdote than a truly documented behavior in nature. The African elephant is a creature of powerful emotions. They can experience joy, attachment, and even sorrow. But when a multi-ton being loses its composure, the consequences for its surroundings can be unpredictable. Besides the elephant, another giant walks the African savanna with almost no fear. The rhinoceros. Its eyesight is poor, nearly useless at a distance, but that deficit is compensated by astonishing power. An adult rhinoceros can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. Its massive body is encased in armor-like hide, and on its snout is a sharp horn that can become a dangerous weapon. The rhinoceros is often solitary and exists in a state of high alert. Unable to see clearly from afar, it relies more on its senses of smell and hearing. A strange scent or an unusual sound is enough to provoke an immediate reaction from this giant. When uncertain of the threat before it, the rhinoceros's instinct is simple: charge directly at it. During the breeding season, tensions escalate. Adult males will often drive away a female's calf to encourage her to return to her reproductive cycle sooner. When two adult rhinos dispute territory, the confrontation can last for hours. Their horns, made of keratin, the same material as human fingernails, become deadly weapons. In fact, battles between adult males account for nearly half of all natural mortalities for this species. However, the greatest threat to the rhinoceros comes not from its own kind, but from humans. Poaching for their horns, so-called white gold, despite having no real medicinal value, has pushed this species to the brink of extinction. Today, local communities and rangers patrol day and night, even dehorning the animals to protect the last hope of survival for these giants of the savanna. Not all giants rely on armor or muscular strength for confrontation. Some rise above in a completely different manner. The giraffe, with the body of a horse and a neck up to 6.5 feet long, is a testament to this. This creature possesses a 24-pound heart, which generates a blood pressure double that of a human. Yet, its neck contains precisely 7 cervical vertebrae, the same number found in people. Each vertebra is over 10 inches long. Beyond aiding in feeding, these necks can become high-impact instruments in a ritualized contest known as necking during the mating season. The small protrusions on their heads, called ossicones, are actually hard, skin-covered bone structures. When a physical confrontation occurs, the resulting sound can be heard from hundreds of feet away. It is a motion with enough force to break ribs, damage internal organs, or even knock an opponent unconscious instantly. This confrontation is like a slow yet decisive dance with destiny. An outmatched African giraffe can suffer a broken neck and fall to the ground like a collapsing tower. However, the neck is not its only form of defense. The lions of the Etosha region in their search for food, understand this better than anyone. And creation always finds a way to exhibit admirable contrasts. Along the tranquil rivers of Africa exists one of nature's greatest illusions. The hippopotamus's yawn. This act of opening its jaws to 150 degrees is no sign of rest or laziness. This is the most aggressive mammal on the planet. The lower canine teeth of a hippopotamus can grow up to 24 inches long. Thanks to a self-sharpening mechanism, with every movement, they remain as keen as blades. These impressive teeth serve only one purpose: to confront enemies. Only the strongest individuals are permitted to rule this sacred marshland. The hippo's loyalty to its territory is as fierce as an absolute creed. The one about to cross its path is a waterbuck, an antelope with a water-repellent coat that always lives near water sources. For the waterbuck, the water is a safe refuge from terrestrial predators. But the resident hippo does not share that view. The consequence of defying the rules of the marsh is to have one's life ended by the planet's most aggressive landlord. In this land, still waters are never a sign of absolute peace. When the great warriors have ended their journeys, the keepers of nature's harmony draw near. At the moment when life transforms to provide sustenance, there is always one who does not understand the meaning of waiting its turn. But when great wings descend from the sky, the rules of nature change instantly. The lappet-faced vulture is the great guardian of the savanna's provisions. With a wingspan of nearly 10 feet, it is the largest and most powerful of Africa's cleanup crew. This giant possesses a natural gift that no other species has. Its beak is incredibly strong, deep, and sharp. It is the tool that creation bestowed upon the pathfinders. Only they have the strength to tear through the toughest hides of the African elephant, the Cape buffalo, or the rhinoceros. Thus, they often take pride of place, enjoying the main portion of the meal and leaving the rest for their counterparts. The smaller species depend on its strength, while it relies on the presence of the smaller ones to locate food more quickly. It is a collaboration born from the necessities of life. When this bird becomes more animated or prepares for a contest over food, blood rushes to the skin on its face. This color change helps the bird regulate its body temperature during times of exertion, while also sending a clear, natural signal to any who might think of standing in its way. Without a single sudden movement, the vibrant color of its resolve has done 90% of the work in establishing respect. After the confrontations of tusk and horn play out under the open sun, the African continent still conceals other giants. They live in more secluded places, higher and more humid. There, the stage of existence might be cloud-covered peaks, swift-flowing rivers where razor-sharp teeth await, or beneath the dense forest canopy. In those places, the giants possess unique survival strategies and natural tools perfected through fierce confrontations. Over 9,800 feet above sea level, the Virunga mountain range lies between Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In this kingdom of mist, with its thin, cold air, there lives a king with no throne, but with silver shoulders that can carry his entire lineage. The mountain gorilla shares about 98% of its DNA with humans. Its digestive system is a colossal cellulose processing machine, turning simple leaves into rippling masses of muscle. Their social structure revolves around an absolute hierarchy. A silverback is the father, the leader, and the sole protector of his family. A wise silverback will observe the frequency of these sounds and decide whether it is worth expending the energy for a physical confrontation. But when the language of sound is not enough, physical power will speak. The gorilla uses its full weight for positioning and employs its jaws, with a bite stronger than a lion's or a tiger's, to leave a deep impression of its presence. Their most formidable tools are canine teeth up to 2 inches long. A powerful bite to the shoulder or neck could end the life of any rival in a moment. The mountain gorilla is an admirable example of the balance between immense power and gentleness. They are gentle giants until the boundaries of mutual respect are crossed. But far from the cool mountain peaks, in the lower regions, there is a creature with an appearance as brilliant as a work of art, but with a fierce disposition. A primate that even a leopard must think twice before approaching. The mandrill is a creature that defies the usual standards of evolutionary history. It possesses a brilliantly colored appearance, yet it is also the largest primate of its kind in the world, with one of the most volatile temperaments in nature. The more vivid a male mandrill's reds and blues, the more intense a life force it displays. In other words, its face is a tangible testament to the strength and vitality that life has bestowed. An adult male mandrill can weigh 77 pounds or more, but its true power lies in its large troops, true legions on the move. They can gather in enormous groups of up to 600 or even 1,000 individuals. No snake, small rodent, or other primate group is brave enough to stand in their way. This is the procession of a very well-organized group, under the leadership of the king with the most brilliant face. The savanna quietly recedes as darkness descends. The giants withdraw into the night, leaving behind the mark of an indomitable will to survive, etched in scars and fierce confrontations. Across the sun-scorched plains of the Serengeti, life is an epic composed of courage and sacrifice. Here, lions reign as the undisputed masters of the vast savanna. The lion is the only feline to forge a truly complex social structure. A pride is a formidable fortress built upon the bedrock of kinship and mutual protection. The male lion stands as the embodiment of absolute power and regal authority. He wears a dense mane, a biological shield designed to protect his throat. His role is to safeguard the frontiers of his kingdom. His roar, audible for 5 miles, is a thunderous warning to any intruder who dares challenge his lineage. Yet the soul and predatory heart of the pride reside within the females. They are an elite force, bound by seamless coordination to create the most effective hunting network on the plains. The huntresses begin their strategic deployment. They never act alone, communicating through subtle glances and silent movements amidst the parched grass. Their target is a Cape buffalo. But across these immense grasslands, survival also depends upon a different weapon: extreme velocity. Observe this slender creature concealed within the golden stalks. This is the cheetah, the swiftest animal on our planet, a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering. Its frame is a structure perfected for the pursuit of ultimate speed. With a lightweight skeleton and a spine as flexible as a steel spring, it is designed to tear through space. In a mere 3 seconds, the cheetah can reach speeds exceeding 62 miles per hour. An intense acceleration that far outclasses even our most advanced modern supercars. The long, muscular tail serves as a biological rudder. It allows the cat to execute sharp maneuvers at high speed while maintaining absolute equilibrium. Distinct black tear marks help absorb the harsh glare of the African sun. This specialized adaptation focuses its vision on targets more than half a mile away. Now, a target appears. A solitary impala has let down its guard. This is the moment the killer instinct awakens in a macabre dance of death. The cheetah lowers its center of gravity, gliding like a spectre through the thorn bushes. Every footfall is a calculated step, narrowing the gap for the final explosion. High above, the stillness of the forest is suddenly shattered. Immense wings churn the air, a heavy rhythm asserting the dominance of the hornbill, the sovereign of Borneo's skies. This island is a sanctuary for 8 distinct species of hornbill. But most striking is the rhinoceros hornbill, a living icon of the island. Its hollow casque acts as a resonance chamber, amplifying calls that carry for miles to mark territorial boundaries. Their lives are inextricably linked to ancient, towering trees. The continuity of their lineage depends entirely upon these hollow trunks. During the breeding season, the female seals herself within, using mud to wall off the nest entrance. She remains there for weeks, molting and nurturing new life in total seclusion. The weight of the world now rests solely upon the male's shoulders. The survival of the entire family depends on his loyalty and endurance. By consuming large fruits that smaller birds cannot, hornbills carry seeds across vast distances. Their flights initiate a continuous process of rebirth, redrawing the map of the forest. They are the great sours of the wilderness. Among these branches, we also find the Bornean orangutan, the titan guarding the soul of Southeast Asian jungles. Weighing nearly 200 pounds, they are the largest arboreal animals on our planet. Mature males possess large cheek pads, which help project their territorial calls across several miles. With an arm span reaching 6.5 feet, these steel-like levers allow them to make impossible reaches across dangerous voids. To move such a massive frame requires immense energy. Intelligence is their ultimate tool. An orangutan's brain holds a complex cognitive map of hundreds of fruit trees in three-dimensional space. More importantly, it masters the growth cycles of every individual species. When the dry season turns the forest into a hungry green desert, the orangutan knows exactly which tree will bear fruit tomorrow. After 8 months of gestation, the female begins an uninterrupted 7-year commitment. This is the longest weaning and nursing period of any mammal, surpassed only by humans. It is a rigorous course in survival, where every secret of the jungle is meticulously passed to the next generation. The canopy is a safe fortress, but sometimes hunger forces them to do the unthinkable. Descending to the forest floor is a step into extreme risk. Their bodies are not built for the ground, turning the king of the trees into a sluggish exile. In the shadows of the dense undergrowth, the forest's top predators are waiting. In the lower strata of the canopy, where light is swallowed by shadow, a ghost awakens. This is the realm of the sunder-clouded leopard, a mystery of the Bornean wilds. It is often regarded as a modern incarnation of the ancient saber-toothed cats. It possesses canines over 2 inches long, the largest relative to body size in the feline family. Where the forest meets the river, life flourishes in a different fashion. The proboscis monkey is an extraordinary species found nowhere else but Borneo. They make their homes along the riverbanks, where dense vegetation provides a natural stronghold. In their society, the larger the nose, the higher the status. The nose serves as a resonance chamber, amplifying calls to warn rivals and entice mates. To survive on nutrient-poor mangrove leaves, they have evolved a complex, multi-chambered stomach similar to ruminants. Billions of symbiotic bacteria work tirelessly to break down cellulose and neutralize plant toxins. This adaptation allows them to exploit a food source that other competitors must ignore. However, life by the water is fraught with constant peril. When food becomes scarce, they must make a daring choice. Just beneath the silt of Borneo's rivers, the saltwater crocodile waits with infinite patience. Reaching lengths that can exceed 20 feet, this is the largest living reptile, the supreme monarch of brackish waters. Its rugged hide provides perfect camouflage, rendering it invisible until the very last moment. Thousands of sensitive pressure receptors on its jaw act as a radar system, detecting vibrations from dozens of yards away. Its bite exerts a force of 3,700 pounds per square inch, the most powerful in the animal kingdom. In Borneo, a single moment of inattention can cost one's life. Yet in this unforgiving realm, there are giants that know no fear. Emerging from the mist, the Bornean elephant appears in all its majesty. Their true strength lies not in their tusks, nor their trunks containing 40,000 muscles. That strength is found in unity and collective wisdom. The herd is led by the oldest and most sagacious female. Her brain is a living library, retaining maps of every water source and meadow for the past 60 years. When a calf goes astray, the matriarch emits infrasonic signals below 20 Hz. This sound travels through the ground for miles to summon the members. A defensive formation is immediately activated. A natural strategy, where the family is the beginning and the end of all protection. This is the eternal truth of Borneo's ancient forest, where harshness and compassion weave the symphony of existence. Further down, where fierce rivers carve into the mountain foothills, the face of the forest begins to shift. One must never mistake the gentleness of a herbivore for weakness. The sambar deer is the largest deer in Southeast Asia and one of the island's most robust land mammals. With a weight that can reach 550 pounds, its body is a mass of muscle and steel-like sinew. Sambar are highly selective browsers. They seek out only the most nutrient-rich young leaves, shoots, and fallen fruits. This premium fuel is converted directly into muscular power and tools of authority. But the stature of a giant is also a burden. In the eyes of predators, a sambar is a massive, mobile reservoir of protein. Consequently, they have developed a sixth sense, profound suspicion. Large ears rotate constantly like radar to detect the slightest hint of danger. Quiet strength combined with hypervigilance has made the sambar a symbol of resilience. Following in the tracks of giants is the sun bear. Though the smallest bear on Earth, this 5-foot creature possesses an ego larger than any other forest inhabitant. Nature has equipped it with a perfect toolkit. Its claws are specialized for climbing and tearing through wood. Its tongue can extend 10 inches, a record among all bear species. Loose skin around the neck acts as biological armor, allowing it to ignore the stings of 1,000 bees. This fearless temperament creates a perimeter of respect that gives even the most formidable predators pause. As night falls, the forest's pocket-sized hunters finally awaken. This is the tarsier, a primate measuring barely 4 inches in length. Immense eyes, larger than its own brain, are designed to capture every stray photon of light. Because they are so large, these eyes are fixed within the skull. To compensate, nature granted the tarsier a miraculous neck that can rotate nearly 270 degrees. The tarsier is the only primate in the world that is entirely carnivorous. Its existence depends on fresh protein from insects and small reptiles. The secret is in the hind legs, which feature unusually long tarsal bones. In an instant, it can launch itself 40 times its own body length. They communicate via ultrasound at 91 kilohertz, well beyond the hearing of predators like owls or snakes. The survival of this ancient lineage is bound to the health of the primary forest. Further north, a shadow battalion seizes control of the night sky. These are the flying foxes, the inverted monarchs of the High Kingdom. This is the largest fruit bat on Earth, with a leathery wingspan of 5 feet. In reality, their wings are hands with elongated fingers, connected by a thin membrane called the patagium. Unlike their smaller echolocating cousins, flying foxes rely on keen eyes and a sharp nose to detect ripening fruit from afar. On their nightly foraging expeditions, some wings must carry a double burden. A pup must cling tightly to its mother with feet and claws, becoming an inseparable part of her aerial acrobatics. Though many fear their appearance, the flying fox is a keystone species for this ecosystem. As they fly, tons of seeds are dispersed throughout the forest. They are the most industrious planters, reconnecting isolated fragments of green. When the sun sets, the ancient forest does not sleep. It merely shifts its cadence. The Sunda pangolin is the only mammal on Earth to trade warm fur for a suit of cold armor. Over 900 keratin scales overlap to create an impregnable shield. When threatened, it curls into a dense, armored sphere. Tragically, this very perfection has become the cause of its downfall. Humans have turned this proud armor into baseless traditional medicines, pushing the Sunda pangolin toward extinction. In the battle against greed, Borneo's best protected creature is failing to survive. The green peafowl, or Indonesian peacock, is a rare bird of regal splendor. Males can grow to 7 feet in length, adorned with metallic green plumage and a train featuring eye-like patterns. The breeding season coincides with the rains, when males display their fans in complex dances to attract mates. However, the green peafowl is critically threatened by habitat loss and illegal hunting. Deep within the tropical forests of Java, the dhole exists silently like a crimson spectre. The result of millions of years of evolution, it has become one of Southeast Asia's most effective pack hunters. Dholes hunt in packs of 5 to 12, coordinating through long whistles that echo through the forest. Yet, The dhole is classified as endangered, with only about 2,500 to 3,000 individuals remaining. Sumatra is a cradle of biodiversity, where many endemic species struggle to survive in the forest's shadow. Amidst the dense foliage, the silence is broken by the silent footfalls of the Sumatran tiger. It is the last remaining tiger subspecies in Indonesia and the smallest of all tigers. Its modest size is not a weakness, but a sophisticated adaptation to the dense jungle. A compact, agile body allows it to weave through tangled vines and narrow trails where prey least expects it. Its vivid orange coat with thick, bold black stripes allows it to dissolve into the forest's dappled light. These patterns are more than mere markings. They are perfect camouflage that shatters its silhouette. In this world of shadow and patience, it is a master of concealment, the ghost of the Sumatran forest. But that authority is now more fragile than ever. As the forest is fragmented by roads and plantations, its territory continues to shrink. With only a few hundred left in the wild, every step of the Sumatran tiger is more than a hunt. It is a silent battle for the survival of an entire wilderness legacy. Hidden within Sumatra's thickest foliage, a phantom from prehistoric times still endures. This is the Sumatran rhinoceros, the smallest and most ancient rhino species on Earth. It is the closest living relative to the woolly rhinoceros, a relic of an ice age that ended millennia ago. With its thin coat of hair and two small horns, it carries the imprint of a world long gone. But this echo from the past is slowly fading away. Today, this solitary and shy creature exists only in Sumatra and a small pocket of Borneo. With fewer than 80 individuals left in the wild, it stands on the precipice of extinction, listed as critically endangered. Habitat loss and relentless poaching are the primary threats driving this ancient animal to its absolute limit. Each footstep in the quiet forest is a fragile reminder of a heritage we are at risk of losing forever. At the very peak of the Sumatran canopy, a solitary figure moves with quiet grace. This is the Sumatran orangutan, known in the local tongue as the person of the forest. A sage of the high branches. A master of the heights, it rarely descends to the damp ground where danger constantly lurks. Arms, far stronger than legs, are the perfect tools for traversing the gaps between the trees. Every movement is intentional, slow, and deeply calculated. Its brain maintains a detailed map of the forest, recalling the location and ripening time of every fruit tree. Yet its greatest legacy is passed down through an unbreakable maternal bond. For nearly a decade, the young will learn everything from their mother, from building a nightly nest to identifying hundreds of edible plants. It is one of the longest and most complex learning periods in the entire animal kingdom. However, millions of years of wisdom cannot withstand a single modern force. Beneath their high paradise, the roar of chainsaws is growing louder. The forest is vanishing at an alarming and unprecedented rate. With only about 13,000 remaining, each individual is a precious gem, a flickering hope for Asia's only great ape. Yet beyond the hunts and the struggles, what remains is the profound fragility of existence. When habitats shrink and populations are counted only in the dozens or hundreds. Every living soul becomes a living legacy of millions of years of evolution. Every step is not just a search for food, but a silent war against disappearance. Life here requires no myth to achieve greatness. Its value is found in its persistence, its intelligence, and its capacity to adapt. And the future of that legacy no longer rests on instinct, but on the choices made by humanity.